Good Monday morning, everybody. Chris here with High Seas Cruising, and welcome to today's video. Welcome to some cruise news. All right, we're going to start off today talking about COVID-19 vaccines. That's something we have not heard in a long time, not when it comes to cruising. I mean, we know that all the vaccination requirements to cruise went away a long time ago. Now, this hasn't been the case for crew members, though. They are still required or have been required to have the COVID-19 vaccine, to be up to date on the booster shots before being hired on board the ship or returning from vacation. They've had to be up to date at least until recently. And since COVID-19 vaccines, haven't been in our faces, kind of made me forget that the crew members were still having to get it, because it's kind of become one of those subjects that's just not talked about anymore. But Norwegian Cruise Line's one of the last ones to end their COVID-19 vaccine requirements. They went away officially on May 29th. Now, this is only for crew, but now newly hired crew members and returning crew members no longer have that requirement. Royal Caribbean did away with it in March of 2024. Princess Cruise Lines did away with it in July of 2023, and Carnival ended theirs back in February here in 2024. So like I said, so a requirement for crew has just been quietly ending in the background, and hopefully an end to a subject that we just haven't had to talk about in quite a while. Next up, we have some updates on P&O Australia. P&O Australia, of course, is going to be folded into Carnival Cruise Lines, is going to become a part of Carnival Cruise Lines, and the name, the brand, P&O Australia, is going to officially be going away next year. Now, this story came out a couple of days ago, but it has brought up a lot of questions. What about the itineraries that were already booked for next year on these ships? Are they going to sail from the same places? What's going to happen? What changes are going to be made? Are my cruises going to be canceled? Just some of the questions that have been asked, and we do have some answers for you today. Okay, so P&O Australia, of course, has 3 cruise ships. The Pacific Explorer, she is going to be going away. She is leaving the fleet. Her last cruise is going to be on February the 7th. Anybody who had cruises booked after that should have or will be receiving a notification letting them know that their cruise has been canceled, and of course will be given a full refund. The Pacific Adventure and the Pacific Encounter, they are going to be rebranded into Carnival Cruise Lines, but that means going into dry dock, which of course means cruise cancellations as well. So for Pacific Adventure, March 14th, March 18th, March 22nd, and the March 25th sailing, those have been canceled. And March 15th, March 18th, and March 22nd for the Pacific Encounter, those have been canceled. Now, all refunds will be processed back to the original form of payments, and they said that will begin after June the 20th. Now, after April of 2025, both the Pacific Adventure and the Pacific Encounter, once they're rebranded, will go back and begin sailing their already planned itineraries. So they're going to keep sailing what they were already planning to sailing. They're just going to be rebranded as Carnival Cruise Lines. What's going to change on board those ships? Well, Carnival has not released any specific details. But what I suspect is probably going to happen is very similar to what we saw with the 3 Costa cruise ships that came over to Carnival. Now they are Carnival, cruising with Carnival Italian style. So they maintain a lot of their original decor, a lot of their original theming. You could still tell that they were Italian-inspired Costa Cruise Line ships. They just added some Carnival touches, some Carnival venues and Carnival activities and different things on board the ship. I think we will see something very similar to that. I think they will be 2 new Carnival cruise ships are new to the Carnival fleet, but I think they're going to try to hold on to that P&O Australia feel, that vibe that they currently have. Now, that could be completely wrong. They could do a 100% top to bottom change, but they're only going to be in dry dock for a couple of weeks each. So kind of leads me to believe more than likely that they will still have that P&O feel. They will just be a new version of Carnival Cruise Lines, just like we see with the ships that came over from Costa. I know there will still be many more questions about how this transition is going to take place and what it's going to look like when it comes out on the other end. and we will share information, details as Carnival Cruise Lines releases them here in the future. And finally, a scary story. And it's going to be scary for parents because it is a bit of a negative turn for cruising. Because we have a Disney cruise passenger detained in Port Everglades and facing charges of child abuse after it was discovered he had material, videos on his devices, mobile devices, phone, of media containing underage children. According to the story, when he went through customs, they did a secondary check on him and started checking his devices like they were looking for this particular type of thing, which kind of makes me believe that somebody must have alerted the authorities to be on the lookout for this. Because how many times have you gone through customs, them done a secondary check, and then start looking through the media on your phone or your tablet or your computer? So kind of think they were looking for it. And while you don't want to hear about this on any cruise line or anywhere for that matter, to have to hear about it on a Disney cruise ship, which you know is full of kids, it is full of underage individuals on board these ships. And this is where they find this stuff, is on Disney cruise lines. We've had other stories of crew members on board Disney cruise lines that have had underage children material on their cell phones, on their devices, in their cabin. I mean, in just the last few months, and it's not just Disney, but in the last few months, 10 crew members have been detained for underage material, 2 of them here in just the last couple of weeks. So we all love crew members. I love crew members. Y'all love crew members. Crew members make cruising special. But there's a bad apple in every bunch. Keep an eye on your kids. Make sure you're not leaving them with somebody you don't know. Know where they are. Know what they're doing. Don't have them running randomly around cruise ships unsupervised, because the unfortunate fact and truth of life is that not everybody on that ship will always have their best interest. And as a parent, it is your responsibility to know where your kids are. But there's been enough stories. Hidden cameras in bathrooms, hidden cameras in crew cabins, crew members being found with underage material on their devices. As parents, as cruise passengers, it's our job to be vigilant. All right, and that is going to be our video for today. If you enjoyed today's video, do me a favor and hit that like button. If you haven't done so yet, do me a favor and hit subscribe. It is free to do so. Helps our channel grow. Let you know anytime we put out a new video. Hope everyone out there is having a really great day. And like always, we will see you out on the high seas.